welcome to the TTPFM Field Manual. Bit of a change today, as this is Jonny, and with me is Joshy. How you doing, Joshy?
Oh, doing all right, surviving. How are you, my boy?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. We're getting some wins under our belt in our games, and we're moving forward with life. Thought we'd mix things up a little bit, being the episode devoted to the god of change.
Yeah, I already feel like I woke up in a different universe, mate.
Well, here things be fucky-wucky.
Tricky wiki.
But not icky-wicky, that was last week.
Yeah, we're tricky wiki this week. What's next week?
Next week? Well, that depends on...
I'm just thinking no rhyming conventions, just big, blaring war horn. Just... oh no, the knights are here.
Maybe. Well, let's do some show notes. Do you want to discuss with the audience where they can find and support us?
Of course, mate. Instagram. TTP Field Manual. Just like that. No acronym. TTP Field Manual. Instagram. Maybe I'll put us on Blue Sky eventually. We'll probably do a community Discord also eventually. We have too many of our mates spamming our planning chats. So, could do two birds with one stone, eh, mate?
Yeah. I've definitely started already looking into community Discord stuff. So, look forward to that in the future, peeps.
Yeah, a bit more connected, if you will, with us and community than Instagram and stuff would be. So, yeah. Otherwise, Angel Exterminatus is our book club of choice. It is number 23 in the Horus Heresy saga. No, you do not have to read the first 22, though you definitely could. The only book I'd recommend checking out beforehand is Fulgrim, but we did an episode on that if you want to be caught up. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, our favourite segment as usual. How's your hobbying been, Joshy boy?
Actually, in the last 24 hours, quite good, mate. I have been approaching my Sisters of Battle for Armies on Parade with the army painting approach, where you just blitz at your army, everyone gets the same step, everyone gets the guns painted, everyone gets the capes done, that kind of thing. No one model at a time, no one squad at a time. So I spent about 5 or 6 hours this week painting Grey Knight Steel and everything.
Nice. Hey, that's a very big step in the process, right? Getting those initial colors down. So exciting stuff.
Yeah, Sunday, Monday is my weekend, so it's been good to just start my weekend off with that. Barely got Death Guard episode out, but go listen to that and validate my efforts. Thank you very much. On to you, Jonny.
Yeah. Speaking of Death Guard episode, we are thinking about potentially toying around with the release schedule a little bit. Try and find out when people are more wanting to listen and making sure our content is aligned with people's wants and needs. So maybe look out for a different day that it might be released in the near future, and we might just toy around and see what we can do.
It will be either a Monday or a Friday, yeah.
Yeah, in terms of my hobbying, I played a game.
Sure did. Did you so much as play a game or destroy a game?
Yeah, I do feel a little unfun sometimes, don't I?
We talked about it ad nauseum. Stat check,
I love my, Chaos Knights so much. They're so cool. I love the models. They're absolutely my go-to army every step of the way. But when you table your opponent on turn 2, it's hard to feel good about it.
Was the dice skewed or was the list skewed? What do you think did it?
Oh, I mean, he definitely had the potential. He brought everything he could that was anti-tank to this fight. Like, did a little last-minute tailoring of the list to choose better loadouts specifically to deal with knights. But between a combination of the dice and some ridiculous just positioning and the new Codex points, there's a lot of big robots stomping up the board. And it can be very hard for the opponent to decide the correct way to approach the situation when everything is so scary. And we ended up rolling the soccer game Unexploded Ordnance for our game mode. And it really kind of favored the big guys that just stand there on the point and go, can you auto see me while I shoot you off the board? Like, it did feel like the randomness of what happened did favor me a little bit.
You do like randomness, don't you, my sorceress friend?
I do have to say I am really enjoying the new Chaos Knight Codex, specifically the Lords of Dread detachment.
Did you use strats this time?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. That first match you played, you didn't use any detachment strats.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
But I also changed up a few things from the first game just to test out the waters and see what works and what doesn't. There's a stratagem that I've got that allows me to command reroll with an enhancement. Command reroll with one of my knights for free every turn. And it also has a once per game make an opponent's stratagem cost one more for the rest of the game after they use it.
Oh, I love those ones.
So I did get in my opponent's head a titch by being like, once you use your command reroll, they're going to cost 2 from then on.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
Which
That's
did,
spicy.
I think, do more benefit for me than it should have. Because I had mentioned it, he was waiting when he could have command rerolled, knowing that it would be the only time it costs 1. So I ended up getting more value out of it because my opponent was scared to use their stratagems. But it did do a pretty big play where Khan died, rolled to get back up on a 2+ and rolled a 1 and only had 1 CP left, so couldn't command reroll because I'd already increased the price.
I missed that second part at the event last night, but that is spicy.
Which feels bad for my opponent, but is exactly what I wanted to accomplish with that enhancement, so I can't really be too mad about it.
Sometimes dice just aren't in your favor either.
So once again, Khan has died to a vehicle, except this one stomped on him.
He's not good at vehicles.
Right?
You should bring an anti-tank axe next time.
He did. He brought 2 squads of Exalted 8-bound, which are all anti-tank.
Oh.
And he ended up dropping my Rampager to 1 wound by the end of round 2.
I was going to ask how did those Exalted 8-bounds do, because I'm not convinced yet.
The problem was he failed a charge or 2.
Yeah, they'll do it.
So his big retaliation alpha strike wasn't as big as it probably should have been.
Yeah, it could have been real bad if they all got in, eh?
And there's something absolutely spice-loaded about having a tyrant with deep strike.
I don't know how I would react to that. I'd probably have to keep a Void Dragon also off the board to counter charge you.
Yeah, it's also really good when you play first, because you can drop this 12-inch anti-deep strike bubble somewhere on the board from deep strike, meaning they can't counter deep strike very easily.
True.
Like, it's very safe.
I moved around a bit, checking out the boards, and you had the full board under lock.
Yeah, and then to be like, does your Predator have an invuln save? No? How does 6 AP 12 damage sound?
That was a bit of my Void Dragon play the other week. I was like, what's your invulnerable save in melee? There is none. Oh, what's your save? 3. Oh, I'm AP 3. I'm going to do a stratagem that makes me AP 4.
AP 4 is the magic number.
That'll do it.
Yeah, so definitely a couple of feels bad moments for my opponent, but
yeah,
my army worked exactly as planned. So
hey, at least you weren't going up against our orc friend.
Oh yeah, he still terrifies me.
He might be the person that we see not as often is probably the one hard counter to you. Isn't that funny?
Right? I almost messaged him last night and was like, I need you to come fight me with the orcs because I need a humbling.
There's always next week.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Cool, mate. Anything else? Anything else going on?
Hobby-wise, not particularly. I'm being very slack and procrastinating because I don't have a lot of time. But I also have this looming deadline that is scaring me into not accomplishing my hopes and dreams.
You can do it, Jonny. I believe in you. We all believe in you, don't we, audience? Yay, they say.
Today we are talking about the Lord of Change's cult faction, the deceiver of the warp. We are talking about the Thousand Suns Codex release.
Bum, bum, bum,
Worshippers of Tzeentch. We're finally there. The end of the cult faction Codex reviews.
This would have been the perfect time for us to have podcast music, because I would just invert it for this episode. Like reverse track it, like early 2000s CD hidden stuff.
Yep.
But we're towards the end of the year of chaos, cults of chaos stuff.
Yeah. So we'll finally be able to move on to something else. I mean, unless this is what the viewers want, in which case let us know, and I guess we'll stick to where you want us to be.
So fucking sticky. How are you enjoying Year of Chaos, by the way, overall? Good year?
I mean, it is what it is.
The Year of Chaos was positioned market-wise more so for the whole Age of Sigmar Skaven announcement, and then...
It does go a little deeper than that. Like, they did a lot for Chaos.
They did a lot, but people are...
anticipating more. Especially when, like, big releases for the years, one of them was definitely, or two of them were definitely Chaos Pilled.
Mm-hmm.
With the Emperor's Children getting their release and the Skaven getting their major release.
Major.
But to think that the Space Wolves kind of took over the show a little bit there with some absolutely spectacular models.
It's the Astartes edition, I've been calling it. The Astartes 10th.
For sure. So, shall we get into a Codex review?
Yeah, army pitch and how do they play? Shall I? Who pitches and who explains how they play?
Oh, I can pitch you an army. So, back in the days of 9th edition, there was a phase that got removed from the game for 10th, known as the psychic phase. Guess what, baby? She back!
Spells and shit.
We're back with spells. The index for Thousand Suns was notoriously difficult for Games Workshop to balance, with Thousand Suns performing either incredibly well or terribly horrible.
You think they'd be better at it by now?
Oh, it was just their army rule. Their army rule just created this really skewed way of doing things where you could just there was the potential to do huge plays, causing the points of each unit to just creep up slowly over the course of the edition, to the point where it was actually really hard to build a unique or interesting list because you kind of had to have the best of and the stuff that worked with the index. So it was fill the list with as many sorcerers as you could because you needed your Cabal points to be as high as you could so that you could accomplish everything you wanted to accomplish, you know? And I personally think that changing their army rule completely was the correct move. We now have the psychic tests come back through the Cabal of Sorcerers, instead of having 6 options and needing to pay dollars for them. Each psyker on the board can now perform one of these 4 by doing a psychic test, and if they fail, someone else can attempt it afterwards. And they even brought back the channeling of the warp, where you can throw in an extra dice if you want to try and up the result, but if you roll doubles, things go bad for you. Which I think is it's a really interesting and unique way to play, and it's going to really push you to put your units in the correct spot on the board.
Did you slide the Warhammer rules team like a 50 and we're like, hey, put gambling mechanics in?
Gimme.
Give me the
Gambling
gamble.
seems to be the go-to for most of the Chaos factions.
Imperium gets like rerolls, Xenos gets funky variations on core rules, Chaos, gambling.
They have to gamble to get a fraction of what the Imperium get by default.
Even World Eaters gets a whole other dice game added to it.
So our favorite psychic effect is still here. We have Doombolt. It has been moved down in power a bit. We also have a armor penetration psychic, which can give +1 or +2 AP to one of your opponent's models, kind of in a similar way to Oath of Moment, but for AP instead of rerolls. We have Temporal Surge, which allows you to do some movement shenanigans in the shooting phase. And we have Destiny's Ruin, which is rerolls. So like some very basic sort of abilities.
They're all good. Not too many you would be overwhelmed with.
Yeah. they're all stuff that you're like, yeah, I could see myself doing that every turn. You know, giving Oath a Moment, giving extra AP, giving extra movement, and then just like a mortal wound bomb every turn. Real good.
Yeah, I like it.
Do you have any thoughts on the army rule before we move into data sheets? Go through some of what the Codex can do before we discuss?
I think it's really clean. I'm starting to get a little upset that we're nearing the approximate, like, final third or so of the 10th edition ecosystem before it's all rejigged a bit into an 11th edition. I think that 3 years is a stupidly limited amount of time for an edition, because these last few codices, even a couple we haven't covered like Guardsmen and Eldari and Blood Angels, they all feel good. Like, they feel like the designers have got a grip on this edition and everyone can do something a little more unique and fun within the edition, but all the rules themselves are actually kept to only 1 or 2 pages, like here. And it's clean too, like everything makes sense. Like, you have 4 abilities, you can just keep trying until they go off, and then you can't use that again. So easy to keep track of, whereas before it was like, how many Cabal points did I have? And you like look over the battlefield like, I got you, I got you, I got you.
Yeah, there was like an upkeep check every turn to work out what options you had.
And if you were met with assassins, yeah, if you went up against Imperial agents and just had everybody get assassinated, you don't have a rule anymore. Whereas this, it's Thousand Sons units instead of sorcerer characters, right? It's good.
It's still, you still need sorcerers, so they can still assassin you off the board a little bit.
Does that say model? Thousand Sons model?
A Thousand Sons model with this ability.
Oh, so like Rubric Marines won't have it?
Yeah, because they have a sorcerer in them.
Oh, but like, you can't precision out a sergeant in a squad,
yes,
though.
you can. Are you joking? All the precision keyword says is you get to choose which model is allocated wounds first. You can definitely choose the sorcerer if you wish.
That's right. Good catch.
100% you can mess with your Thousand Sons friends by being like, I want to destroy that guy in particular, and then watch them cry.
Vindicare Assassins on the menu. Calexis Assassin on the menu.
Assassin's very good. This is a character army.
Why possibly are the Thousand Sons focused so much around characters, Jonny? What potential lore reason would they have to be a character-focused army?
Oh, there might be something about a spell that was cast at some point. The Thousand Sons kind of took history and repeated it. They saw what the Necrons did and went, hey, that looks like it worked for them.
Yeah, right.
It's something about that Egyptian mindset, right? They just have to repeat the mistakes of the past.
I have a question for you.
Go on.
This is your 3rd faction. You are collecting and painting and playing within Warhammer 40,000. Beforehand, we all know Chaos Space Marines and Chaos Knights. Where does this army sit in comparison to those other 2 on your little podium of favorite factions? Is this one, do you prefer the aesthetic, or do you prefer the gameplay of this one compared to other ones? Like, how does it compare to what you already have done?
So, okay, here's the thing. You say 3rd, but technically it's my 4th army I've collected for 40k.
Okay, what you have right now.
You forgot about the donations I've given to you.
Yeah, it's my empire now. I definitely forgot because it's my empire now.
This army was kind of like a spur of the moment passion project is my best way of describing it. I really liked the aesthetic. I liked the different way that it played, but it's not like a first love. Chaos Knights will always be my favorite faction when it comes to both painting, collecting, and buying. Like, I absolutely adore Chaos Knights in all their glory, except for the Ruinator, but we will talk about that next time. This army, I absolutely adore the aesthetic. I liked the challenge of working out how I was going to paint them to make them look good without putting in all of the effort that is normally required to paint a Thousand Sons army. I stumbled more than anything into Chaos Space Marines. It was never like the one I wanted, but it was the best option based on where we were at in our journey.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They were kind of like the tutorial army more than anything, which, don't get me wrong, I did really like, and still do like, Chaos Space Marines and have since got a plan for them. But I ended up with a lot of Chaos Space Marines that I will most likely not play.
Maybe maybe check out those Reddit communities of like the buy swap sell armies.
Yeah, it's definitely a vibe though. I do enjoy it, and it's a fun army to play and collect.
Lots of good bits.
I just ended up pushing it into a similar avenue to what Chaos Knights was, because I was like, but I want to play with the vehicles, but I already have a vehicle army, so I felt like I was stat checking myself in the buying process by trying not to do what I was doing elsewhere. But Thousand Sons is like, this is my infantry army, this is my parade army, this is the one I want to paint up and have like on display and pull off the shelf every now and again just to like mix things up. I think they've got some really cool play lines and fun like combos you can do in amongst everything.
I like the sound of that. Shall we get into talking about some of these characters and like the combos you have in mind and what you've observed and how Codex is comparing to Index and the like?
Sure, but I think I'm going to start a little differently with this one.
Oh, so Tzeentchian of you, Jonny.
That's it. That's it. We're going to start by talking about our battle line, because they are a very important part of the army. We have the Rubric Marines as our only battle line option, which are our standard dusty boys. These are our legionaries. We essentially have two options. We can either run them as a 5 or 10 man of flamers, or we can run them with Inferno bolters, which are just, they're just bolters with an extra AP.
Which is a good little change.
Yeah, and you'll find a lot of our weapons are, our whole shtick for this army, really, instead of getting like sustained hits like the World Eaters do, or lethal hits like the Death Guard do, we get +1 AP. The idea is that we've got sorceress ammunition that punches harder than regular stuff.
Yeah, forget your sense of reality and molecular bindings, boys.
You can't scoff at 2 AP bolt guns and 1 AP flamers.
Oh no, like, if my battle sisters had AP2 on their bolt guns, I would actually, like, roll their attacks more often, rather than just like, nah, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it, I ain't gonna do anything.
But 2 AP? Whoo!
In the Index, you pretty much always chose flamers. Like, there wasn't really a situation for the bolt guns to be used, but thankfully, in the Codex, they're much closer in power level now. I think mathematically, the flamers still win out a little, but there's some really interesting little combos you can do with the bolt guns that you're probably going to take some in your list. And I like the idea that you're probably going to take some, because it means you're going to use everything that you've got.
Yeah, and they got double the range of the flamers, and they have, you know, that guaranteed extra pip of AP. The Warp Flamer, You might roll low with the amount of attacks you do, and you have to be a bit closer. Yeah, makes sense. Although, Icon of Flame, War Gear combined with Warp Flamer is pretty spicy. It'll be kind of like an AP2 if you're in the right position.
Yeah, giving Ignore's cover is good, but the Warp Flamers already have it, so it's more beneficial for...
Oh, I'm so awake today, ladies and gents, don't worry.
For the bolt guns, which again, that helps bring the bolters closer because you can also Ignore's cover. So you've got you've got 2 AP and you're removing their cover save. So it's almost like 3 AP.
All Bringers of Change as well. The unit ability. These guys are going to hit
the reroll wound rolls of 1, rerolling the wound if the opponent's on an objective. Yeah, these are they're very good, and there's a reason for it because they cost a fair few points.
A lot. A lot.
Yeah. Our infantry is 100 points.
Do you run 5 or 10?
Both.
Okay.
Should I? Probably not. But unfortunately for 10th edition, it favors smaller numbers. But there are at least 2 situations where I can see a 10 blob of Rubric Marines being useful, which we will discuss when we get to the characters. That's why I chose to do some of the infantry first.
Yeah, makes sense. We're learning, everybody.
The other Rubric A infantry that we have are our specific Terminators, the Scarab Occult Terminators, which are sick models, dude.
I
really like
the
curvy shape of them. as opposed to the really boxy Terminators that you used to get, or that Chaos Space Marines get. They're super Egyptian pilled. The little jet rocket pod that one of them can get is super cute. And these guys are pretty punchy too. Again, Index, they were basically unplayable, and now they're kind of a must-play.
Why unplayable? Just too expensive?
They were just too expensive for what you get, and they haven't really got much cheaper. They're still 180 points for 5, but the internal balance is so much better, and there's a detachment we will talk about where you want to run as many of these as you can afford to fit in.
Okay.
So the key things with these guys is they are very tanky. You have 3 wound models with 4 wounds on the sorcerer, which they get a sorcerer. Key thing to note, same with the Rubric Marines, they get a sorcerer.
Yep. Meaning
they can do the thing.
I'm seeing the faction Cabal Sorcerers brackets sorcerer only, yeah.
Yeah. They can do the thing, which means if you put a leader with them, that unit now has 2 sorcerers who can cast the Cabals, meaning if you fail the first one, you can try again straight away with the same unit.
True.
Key things, like there's a lot of redundancy in your plays now.
Yeah, and there's a lot of manipulation with the numbers too, with like the Rites of Coalescence unit ability, -1 to wound if being led by their psyker, still.
Yeah, which makes them very tanky, with 5 toughness, 3 wounds, and -1 to the wound rolls of incoming damage.
Most infantry will be wounding on 5s, and then the Scarab Occults might be saving on 3s, if not 4s.
Yeah, with their 2-up save and 4-up invuln, because they're still Terminators. Yeah, very good guys. And I can see situations where you run them as a 10 as well.
Now that's a distraction Carnifex.
Especially because they are slightly cheaper as a 10 than they would be as 2 5s.
Don't see that
There's
too
that
often.
slight point cut, mainly because you still only get 1 sorcerer. You don't get 2 sorcerers if you have 10.
It's more expensive to run 10.
Oh, did they up the points, did they?
180 for 5, 375 for 10. 180 twice is 360.
Yeah, okay. Man, I'm behind the time.
You're going for blocking up that board a little bit if you take that 10 and just, being an absolute menace of...
It's a lot of dudes to get buffs from leaders too.
Yeah, that could be why, a lot of the leaders will talk about them, give out keywords.
Quickly jumping through, like that's the 2 main Thousand Suns units outside of mutants. We'll run through some vehicles quickly, or maybe not actually. Yeah, let's run through the vehicles quickly. Now's a good segue.
The T-Suns vehicles or the Chaos Space Marine vehicles?
We get all of the Chaos Space Marine vehicles, pretty much. We get both Predators, the Vindicator, the Rhino, the Land Raider, the Defiler, the Forge Fiend, the Mauler Fiend. Like, we get all of the Chaos Space Marine vehicles, pretty much.
How's my babe the Defiler going? It has Inferno weapons.
He sure does get Inferno weapons.
Destroyer of Futures, Overwatch on 5s. I love those ones. Oh, and they're within 9 of a Psyker. That's Overwatch on 4s. Hoo-hoo.
It's not Overwatch on 4s. It's unmodified hit roll. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Overwatch on 4s.
Destroyer of Futures. Yeah, that'll be a fun one.
Yeah, there's not a lot to talk about in the vehicles. The Hellbrute is not as good as some of the other cult factions.
I'm not a Hellbrute guy, eh?
I think World Eaters won the Hellbrute fight. Their Hellbrute is pretty cool.
But big smashy.
The only one I really want to talk about is the Chaos Rhino. I know, right? We're talking about the Rhino in an excited manner.
All roads lead back to the humble Rhino.
We have the Sorceress support ability. So in your shooting phase, after this has shot, you select one of the enemies that were hit by one or more of the attacks. And then until the end of the phase, each time a friendly model that disembarked from this transport makes a psychic attack that targets the enemy unit, add 1 to the hit roll and add 1 to the wound roll. So you can get out and your sorcerers can blast. Real good.
I pull up and I start blasting.
Yeah. Outside of that, we kind of have very similar stuff to what you would expect from the rest of the Chaos Space Marine vehicles. But here's where we get to talk about some little goat men.
You don't want to touch on Sekhetar robots?
We're getting there.
Okay. I wasn't sure if they came under vehicles for your brain or not.
No, not in my brain. I was going to talk about the I guess we could do the two kind of bigger units that this faction gets specifically, being the Sekitar robots and the Mutalith Vortex Beast. Cool model, but I would never want 3 of them. So the Mutalith Vortex Beast is our signature monster?
Yeah, your signature big Tzeentchian thing.
The big thing that we get.
It's definitely just the thing.
This guy is sick. He is very good. Toughness 10 with a 5-up invuln. It is a very cool looking model for how old it is. The problem is it's monopose, so if you have 3 of them, they all look identical.
Is it like so old that the sprue has a lot of negative space in between the parts?
Oh, I can't say what the sprue looks like. I haven't got one.
Well, that's why we look online, Jonny. I'll let you know. Keep going.
The beauty of the Mutalith Vortex Beast is it has 3 profiles for its gun, meaning it can adapt to whatever situation it is needed for, almost like the Lord of Change is watching. So we get a blast profile, a torrent profile, and an anti-tank profile, and they're all fine. The torrent is 2d6 attack, 6 strength, 1 AP, 1 damage, pretty standard, with the big Boomba Blast having the Dev Wound keyword, and 18 strength, and d6 plus 6 damage.
Yeah, that's rough. And if you have 3 of them, even if you shouldn't collect 3 of them, if you have 3 of them, that's a lot of laser beam.
Yeah, right. And he also gives his nearby sorcerers +1 to their psychic tests. Very key. Very good. Good stuff. We want +1.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mutalith Vortex Beast was released in 2013 for Warhammer Fantasy, which is interesting
12 years ago.
Because it wasn't that long later, in 2016, we would actually get the first block of Thousand Suns units with Magnus, Ahriman, and the Rubricae. A year later, they'll be buffed up with the Zangors. And then almost 5 years later, we'd get an Infernal Master. And then 4 years later, we'll get Sekitar robots. Poor Thousand Suns, man.
Don't talk to me about it.
Okay, moving on.
Speaking of Sekitar robots, we finally got an Infiltrator unit.
I like them, eh? Don't know if that's
in all of
the
our
thing to say.
reveals, we didn't get a character, but what we did get is robots.
Characters, I'm sure you could borrow one from Death Guard.
I don't know if we need to, honestly. Like, we've got a few already.
Yeah, they all look unique enough too. It's cool.
They're pretty cool. I can't complain about the Aspiring Sorcerers box. But Sekitar robots, how do you feel about free Overwatch?
Love it.
Because in the lore, these guys are just statues hiding out in the world, ready to strike at a moment's notice.
It'd be kind of funny if they were considered terrain pieces until you shoot them for the first time.
Till they're activated.
Yeah, maybe an ability where they're infiltrated as like terrain features, but they're not actually like a unit that's targetable until you actually like start fighting with them. That could be quite fun.
It would be pretty cool, honestly. These guys are 90 points for 2, so pretty cheap, all things considered for our army.
T6, 5-up, invuln save, wound 4, 90 points with stealth and infiltration. That's actually good.
It's pretty damn good.
It's good.
You also get options.
Yeah, gun or claw.
Yeah, these guys are cool. You take them as like a little Overwatch unit that'll just suddenly be there. Or you can mess up your opponent's plans by having this power claw and just like charging out of nowhere.
Yep. You said what I was thinking. You either have the big gun platform or you have the run in and claw 'em apart platform. Good stuff.
Yeah. But no, these guys are pretty cool.
Fun addition. A nice little direction they could go with in the future with this like ancient artificer-esque approach, you know, some of their old sorceress lore coming back from ye olden days, rather than just being marines and mutants. Could be fun.
Yeah, although I would have really liked if we got the Thousand Suns robot from the 30k, because that thing's cool.
You can't cross-pollinate. Are you kidding?
Yeah, they're trying to get away from doing that, right?
What in the Deimos Rhino are you thinking, Jonny?
All right, well, let's touch quickly on the Zangor kind before going into some beautiful, beautiful looking characters.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Zangors, the Zangor Enlightened, which has now been split into 2 options, and the Zangor Shaman, who is the cheapest cabal of sorcerers unit we can get, meaning it's always something to consider. The Zangor Enlightened are 50 points for 3, with a pretty good movement speed because they're all on discs. So these are, honestly, in my opinion, a really good way to move around your Zangor Shaman safely and sit on the back line because, frankly, I prefer the Great Bow option to the Stabby Stab option.
Yeah, the Stabby Stab option's a bit of a question mark for me when compared to the Great Bows.
My problem is the Stabby Stab option requires you to get into charge range. And these guys are only, I mean, they're the equivalent of a Space Marine, right? They're toughness 4 with 2 wounds. Yeah.
I would consider them it's not quite double to run them as 6. I would consider running a squad of them in a certain detachment, maybe 2 of them, if you are playing a certain detachment, we'll talk about it, for their ability, their Prophesied Doom, Mortal Wound on the charge. Like, that could work. That could do some good. Maybe you take their spears, try and get a character or 2.
And don't pass up the fact that it does have lance and precision.
Oh, yeah. Like, you're going to punch up into a character real good.
Yeah, with 1 AP, 2 damage. Yeah, like, they're fine. I just think that the precision lethal hits Great Bow option is much better from the perspective of what you're trying to accomplish in this force.
Yeah, a little keep away.
I love the malign trickery ability, which is what they had in the index, which is if someone tries to get close, they can run away, which means when your opponent deep strikes into your backline, you can be like, but now you can't charge me.
Do you remember when I introduced that ability to you via one of my sister's girlies and you had to bring a Chaos Knight out into the open to charge in because suddenly they weren't next to the wall?
Yeah, right.
And then I blew you up.
And then we have Zangors. Yeah, these guys are great. They're fine. And for 50 points, take a unit, shove a sorcerer in there. That's 110 points, which is roughly the cost of a Rubric Marines unit. And you've got your little backline support covered, or like your mid-board just plinking away at whatever you need to do. Like, they make a good little objective monkey because they do have 10 movement.
What are these? Are they birds or goats?
They're bird goats.
Right, okay.
They have goat hooves, but bird heads. Demons, my friend.
That's icky wicky. The Zangors really are good for this objective play. I'm looking at the on-foot Zangors, and they're, got core ability Scout 6, so you can push up a bit, ambushing Hunter's ability, end of the opponent's turn. If no one's nearby, they can go up into reserves, as I like to call it now, the skies.
In the clouds.
In the clouds, Johnny.
Where are the clouds?
What is the ocean?
Me last night reading Caradron Overlord's Index. Where are the clouds? No, these guys are cool. All the Zangors feel very like small, scouty objective monkeys. Like, you don't want them on your front line.
No.
But at the same time, they're still like toughness 4. Like, they're not as squishy as a human. And they all have an invuln save, whether it be 6s or 5s. And it would take a while to get through 20 of them.
They're better now, aren't they? Like, Index, I didn't hear much play of Zangors, and now with the Codex, there's a lot of buzz. Like, yeah, just take them.
Take a couple.
They're good.
Yeah, they're fine.
They're good.
With the way that our points are laid out, you quite often find yourself with like 70 or 80 points left over, and then you're like, do I put in this or do I put in that? Just as like a little chaff fill-out unit. And that's what these guys do. They fill out your list.
All right.
That leads us to the boys themselves.
The named boys or the not named boys to start with, Johnny?
Let's start with the named characters, of which we have 2. Just 2. That's all we need. We have Ahriman, the first captain of this order, and the man who ruined everything for everyone, if you are a Rubric A, and the man who is infallible and did nothing wrong.
Good intentions, poor execution.
The reason demons got in.
Yeah, good intentions, poor execution. Hello, Magnus, how are you?
Good intentions, poor execution, terribly unaware of the situation.
Could you imagine being so committed to your empire and family of demigods that you break the law, you figure out that one of your best buddy brothers is going to betray the rest of yours. So you're like, oh, I'm going to be the big man and like make sure he's responsible for his actions. Like, you know, make sure there's consequences for this ahead of time before it, you know, damage is done. But you screw up that warning so badly that you're essentially driven to ally with the guy you were trying to censure in the first place. Poor guy.
Yeah, it feels bad to be Magnus, not gonna lie.
To be fair, though, that guy he had to forcibly ally with was the guy who orchestrated the wolves to go beat up the sorcerers in the first place. No wonder he's so pissed off all the time.
Yeah. He's had it rough, but that doesn't mean he's in the right.
No, but he is cool.
But he is a very cool looking model. And the tallest of the primarchs.
Gosh, he's wide. He's so wide.
He's so wide, and that wing goes so high. But Ahriman has taken a slight fall from grace. He is no longer the auto-include must-have model for the army. He is now... He's okay.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the hype. Like, it's good, but I'm not seeing that, like, auto-includeness of his data sheet. He's no Mephiston.
The change to the army rule kind of did him in, because the only reason he was an auto-include was because he was the most value for points you could get for Cabal points in the index. That was his whole thing, right? Like, that was why he was played everywhere. They did combine Ahriman on disc and Ahriman, so now he is always on disc. He no longer walks around, he's just always flying.
He's got too much stuff to do.
He's fine, like, he's still got the transmogrifying blast and the black staff, so he's still got some decent punch in range and melee. But now all he really does is give you +1 to your rituals.
He's more of a buff, yeah.
And a redeploy, which the redeploy can be pretty good, depending on your list, but that's like playing 6D chess while your opponent's just playing chess, you know?
Yeah, his Scryer of Fate's ability is something that you find in a few different armies and detachments, usually in the form of like a 20-ish point enhancement. So if you consider that for 100 points, you get armor and 10-inch movement, flies, a more reliable psychic test, you're got that sort of baked-in redeploy strat. He's definitely, you know, like the bard of the Thousand Suns. He's not there to actually do the damage. He's there to just sort of like, you know, proc up the easy sorcery, you know, move people around a little bit.
He does allow you to, like, infiltrate your units in whichever detachment you're in and then move them back where you actually want them later. So you can do some, like, fun strategies of, like, blocking your opponent out of positions if they've got an infiltrator-heavy army.
Sorry, where are you seeing this?
Well, his ability to redeploy, right?
Oh,
you can put your infiltrators out and then pull them back. So, like, he has a place in the list and in the army, and it definitely leans into, like, the strategy way of doing things, where it's like, yeah, but I'm playing on a different level to you. But it doesn't make him an auto-include anymore, which honestly is a good thing, because he was constantly getting out of stock. Meanwhile, Magnus' friend, 420-point model from hell. This dude is cool. I love this dude. It's such a cool model. He's the centerpiece of your army. He gives +2 to your psychic tests, meaning it's very easy for you to hit your warp charge on your Doombolt.
His ability reads like an early 2000s, like, teenager film, Lord of the Planet of the Sorcerers.
Like, too many words for what it is. Like, they really could have made that easier. But, you know what? Pretty good. Fine.
2 rituals, too.
Yeah. And his, psychic shenanigans that he gets to choose one of are all very similar to what they were, and fine. You can either take 1 off the damage of incoming attacks, you can make anyone using ranged weapons near him have hazardous, so they might blow up in their faces.
I love that one.
Yeah, or you can add 2 to the movement of friendly Thousand Suns models, which, funny enough, Magnus is friendly to Magnus, which turns his 14 inches of movement, which is egregious, into a 16. He flies real good. That's like almost plane level of...
He is a plane.
No, he's a bird. He's what flies through the front windscreen of
He's
plane.
Superman. He's red, right?
Well, this guy is sick. He is red.
He's good. Is he 420 points good, though, do you think?
I mean, probably, but you know I'm going to run him in every list.
If he's sniped out early, he sure isn't. But if you play him enough that he can survive most of the game, he sure is.
Don't run him up the board like I do, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, you dummy.
Yeah, it turns out he can't take a punch-in from Angron. Key thing to note, and this is very much what memes were going around when this Codex was revealed. He has more strength to his melee profiles than Angron himself. So there was a lot of memes of the swole bookman. He's been in the library lifting books.
It's just that blade. I don't see him throwing fists around. It's just that magic sword of his, magic spear, Albert.
But at this point, I do want to say, like, for a centerpiece, huge model of the army, it's actually incredibly easy to paint. This kit is actually really well put together. And anyone who is playing Thousand Sons, I do suggest getting one for the experience of painting him. Because while he looks absolutely incredible in photos painted up, it feels like they thought about sub-assemblies really well in the process of designing this kit. Because all of his armor is separate to all of his skin. So you can make him naked, paint him all up how you want, and then add the armor afterwards, very similar to what Chaos Knights players do. Which makes it for an actually really fun painting project. Just something to think about. Like, looking at Angron and Mortarion and even Fulgrim, like, they look like such a scary painting process. Because there's so many parts that are all interconnected. Like little nooks and crannies and stuff like that. Whereas this guy is fairly simple, but very elegant when put together. But that's our two named characters. Now we get into the sorcerer, or the sorcerer.
Or the infernal one.
Yeah, how do you like your sorcerers? Exalted on disc, infernal, in armor, without armor. They're all sorcerers.
Who's the aspiring sorcerer?
The aspiring kit is designed to make you the exalted sorcerers.
Oh, they've labeled that exalteds now.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
That aspiring sorcerers kit is one of the best army investments you can make in this entire army. You will buy at least one and probably more.
Yeah, everybody, it's such a cheap kit for building an army that I actually bought one, gave it to Jonny, and now he has a whole army. Ta-da.
And out of that one aspiring sorcerer kit, and then obviously bits from other kits, I think I ended up putting together, 5 sorcerers.
Wow.
Out of this 3 model kit, because of how many extra bits there are. Obviously, I made the 3 exalted sorcerers that were in the kit, and then rubrics being the option of a 5 or a 10 man only give you the bits for 1 sorcerer. So I had to then use the extra bits to make the extra sorcerers I need for the 5 squads.
That's funky.
Very, very nice. So this kit is great. And then because exalted sorcerers, infernal masters, sorcerers are all very similar models, with the same base sizes or similar base sizes, there's no reason you can't be like, yeah, this is an infernal master, and this is an exalted sorcerer, and this is a sorcerer, you know? Which makes list building a lot easier when you can just test things out with a similar model.
Which of the variations of sorcerer do you prefer from a datasheet perspective?
I think they all have a spot. They all fill a certain position that you want. But personally, I'm a big fan of the Exalted Sorcerer and the Infernal Master.
Lethals and sustained on the Infernals, but the Exalteds have a bodyguard rezzing.
And a 4-up invuln to your whole unit.
Yeah, very good.
So having your Rubric Marines be even tankier as they walk up the board with their flamers, real good. So now that we've gone through some of the other stuff, we can talk about these sorcerers a little easier in some of their plays, because again, this army is a little tricksy, and it wants to be doing cool things. With how expensive everything is, everything kind of has to perform its function to the best of its abilities. Alright. So the Infernal Master and the Sorcerer kind of fill similar roles. These guys are designed to be leading your Bolter Marines. Your Infernal Master giving sustained hits, your Sorcerer giving lethal hits. This allows your Bolters to have the keywords that are needed to really punch through and come on par with your Flamers. Me, personally, I really like the idea of sticking 10 Rubric Marines with Bolters in a Rhino with an Infernal Master, giving them all sustained hits, sticking them in a specific detachment that has a stratagem that allows your Inferno Bolters to be psychic weapons until the end of the phase, and then letting them all have +1 to hit and wound when they get out, and just absolutely melting things.
Yeah, that's spicy. Your Infernal Master seems to be your very aggressive pyromancer magic guy, huh?
Not pyro, this is Inferno bolt guns.
You get what I mean, right? Like pyromancy, he's the aggressive output.
Oh yeah, and do not even his psychic ability, the Fires of the Abyss, is a hazardous flamer, which can be 2d6 with attacks with AP 2 and 6 strength.
Oh yeah.
So it's also a pretty good flamer on his own. And his force weapon is nothing to scoff at either, with a d3 damage.
I love his pet screamer on his model.
Yeah. Sick model. I don't own one of these models, but I own so many other sorcerers that it's easy enough to run an Infernal Master. The Sorcerer, on the other hand, is your lethal hit. So this could go in the same sort of brick, focused around taking down bigger targets, where you just need to push through those lethals against a vehicle. But he also has the typical, like, Chaos Lord ability, where once per game he can buff his own weapons until the end of the phase. This one focused on his psychic weapon. So you can go from 6 attacks with sustained hits 3 to 9 attacks with strength. Strength 8, all with sustained hits 3. Like, this guy hits like a truck once per game. And that's why I'm not scoffing at the idea. Do not scoff at basic Sorcerer. Just because he doesn't have an interesting name doesn't mean he can't just walk up and punch on.
But then Exalted Sorcerer really likes having its friends.
So your Exalted Sorcerer is from the Aspiring Sorcerer's kit and is the ones without the Disc of Tzeentch. This guy has the Rebind Rubrique ability, allowing him to bring back bodyguards every turn. So whether you stick him with a 10 or a 5 man, they're just going to keep him alive as long as possible to get the most bang for your buck out of his Blast Devastating Wounds ranged Astral Blast. But also, he just gives his whole unit a 4-up invuln, which makes them even harder to kill. So this guy is your tank lord for rubrics.
The Necron enemy's in love with the Exalted Sorcerer above all.
Right? Because he just makes them unkillable. And then the Exalted Sorcerer on disc kind of feels a little weird to me.
I agree with that.
Because he's riding around on a disc, he gives his unit lone up, and he has the ability to debuff enemy units that he hits to slow them down. Don't look past the -4 to movement for a turn, because it's -2 to move and -2 to charge.
I haven't gotten past the name of the ability.
Which one? The Illusions of Tzeentch or the Binding Tendrils?
Binding Tendrils. If the Death Guard have
talk about that one.
Sticky stuff, what's the Thousand Suns got, Johnny?
They have Hentai Octopus, I get it.
Ah. Yeah, all the sorcerers seem really good. This one seems a little more niche, but they all seem good.
Yeah, it's good you only get 1 disc in the kit, because you're probably only running 1 of these at most. And in my list, which we will get to later, I actually run him without a bodyguard.
Interesting.
But we will discuss why exactly I do that.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about Sorcerer and Terminator play? Or nah?
We sure do.
Okay.
Are you joking? This guy is fantastic.
I like the Goes of Hote ranged weapon.
Just like the Sorcerer, out of Terminator order, he does give lethal hits to his unit. Key thing to note, this guy leads the Scarab Cult, and they all have guns.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all getting lethal hits. But also his Marked by Fate is really decent as well. This guy shows up, he shoots someone, and then everyone else shoots better at that person. Gets a mini...
Markalite?
Yeah, mini Markalite. That's the word I was looking for.
I got you, boo. Don't worry.
Oh, dude. And also, like, his psychic attack is nothing to scoff at either. The Gaze of Hate, an anti-monster, anti-vehicle devastating wounds attack with 3 AP and 2 damage. Like, it's fine.
Oh, yeah.
It's got lethal hits as well because of him.
Non-bow, though. Non-bow.
It is a non-bow. But, like, you're pushing through some damage on vehicles with this guy.
I like the idea that he's just looking at him like, I hate you. I hate this tank. And the tank just shrivels up a bit.
Tank just explodes before your eyes.
He has a staring match with a Chaos Knight. It's just on his tactical rock. He's like, I hate you. And then the big knight's like, aww. Head explodes.
And that brings us to the last of the data sheets, the 2 demon princes.
I always forget about these things, eh?
That's why they always end up last, you know? We have demon prince with wings, demon prince without wings. Demon prince with the demon prince with wings seems to be the most Tzeentch pilled one, with its Hunter of Souls and Aether Stride abilities. Key thing to note as well, his ranged attack is pretty full on. He has the standard infernal cannon, but also has a psychic sustained hits attack that's got 9 attacks, called the Dark Blessing.
Imagine if that was indirect fire as well, just shows up and then the chaff unit in the corner is like, what the hell?
Boom. And then his Aether Stride ability can give you one of 3 options when you deep strike in. One is 3-inch deep strike, which has since been nerfed to 6 because everyone got nerfed to 6, meaning he can just pop up and start shooting. You can give your Dark Blessing sustained hits D3 on those 9 attacks, or it gets all of them.
I was gonna say, why would you choose
6-inch
not to charge?
It gets 6-inch and sustained hits when it deep strikes in.
Oh, what's your Aether Stride ability? I'm not declaring a charge.
Damn straight. I don't want to charge you. Nah. And then your Demon Prince without the wing is your typical gets blown up if it's near another unit, which is the same as all of the Demon Prince without wing. And then also you can have the Spirit Snare, where if a Psyker dies near him, it buffs all of your psychic tests.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with the synergy in this army.
And he gives stealth to the friends nearby, which I think is really good with the lone op, because it's like, when I'm near you, they don't want to shoot you, and they can't shoot me. Yeah, the synergy in this book is very good. The internal balance is very good, and yeah, the data sheets are fine. I'm pretty happy with the army as a whole. Can't complain.
Nah, I don't have much else to contribute. They're all good. You've glammed them up. You've offered that glamour of Tzeentch.
I got to talk up my boys, you know? And as you said before, the new codexes towards the end of this edition have been pretty spot on. They definitely have come into their element with what they want out of a 10th edition codex.
It sucks that it's happening now and not the whole time.
It feels bad, but also like you got your codex first. So you were just the test, I guess. You know, like if you were Space Marines or Necrons or Tyranids or, you know, those first couple that got codexes and now they've had to like rebalance and re-release and rejigger all of your rules because obviously when the edition was first started and how long it takes for like building and production and release and all of this, like the codexes were designed before the game existed in this format.
Yeah.
So the only balancing they really had was in their company. So now that they've got all of this extra data, we're really seeing exactly what we can get out of a 10th edition codex. And it is sad that we will probably be getting a new edition in the next like year or two.
Yeah, that's where that's like my big struggle point with this game's ecosystem. I love books. You've seen my house. There's books everywhere. There's wall art everywhere. I love having the stuff. But I haven't picked up, pardon me, I haven't picked up the Sisters Codex. I won't pick up the Eldari Codex, even though I love looking at the art and reading the pictures. You get what I mean?
It just doesn't feel worth the effort.
Yeah, it doesn't feel worth it because, the books you've got, great. I've been flicking through everyone's Chaos Codices on our game night, looking at it all. It's very cool. I still flick through my Necron Codice. But there are balanced data slates like 4 times a year now, which is good. It's healthy. We need such changes if you are trying to have everything be relatively balanced. It's good. We need it. But the books are like $100 Australian, and the actual game component of it, which is what you get hyped around the books for, usually, is like 20-ish pages on average with the data sheets and the enhancements and the detachments, all that stuff, maybe 30, 40 for some armies, but they'll change. There are stratagems and entire detachment rules and stat sheets in the Necron Codex, which is just not the same anymore. There are ability rulings that aren't legitimate anymore. So I'm just like, why the F do I have this book? But then I see these books, like the Thousand Suns, Death Guard World is, and I'm excited again. But then I'm like, well, hold on a minute. When the last one's out, if it's anything like 9th edition, 3 months later is the next edition. Why not have an extra year of the edition, let everything cool, have a good, tournament year, bring in like a campaign book, but no, it's just more, and I hate that, Jonny.
Yeah. At the end of the day, they are a business, right?
Oh, I get it. Just do it better. Just figure out a different methodology. If it's a subscription application,
maybe we need D&D 1.
Nope.
For Warhammer.
If we had like a subscription service, that's not super egregious, but like bake it into Warcom or the Warhammer.
I was going to say, they already have a subscription service they could include it in.
Yeah, like bake it into that. And so you're paying for the access to playing the game, which is a thing more and more and more. Whatever. But then make like the art stuff and the Crusade stuff maybe. Do that as your book. Don't gatekeep the rules behind a $100 book for most people and then change it in a few weeks' time. Don't bloody do that.
I mean, in previous issues, they've changed the rules before the book even came out.
9th edition Votan got recalled, just about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It happens, Well, on a more positive note, we have some detachments to talk about, specifically 5 of them.
Not 9?
Imagine. What would you do for 9 detachments when your army only consists of like 9 data sheets?
You would have the most bare bones approach to what each of the actual cults are called, like Cult of Magic, everyone's +1 psychic ritual. Cult of Time, you can deep strike in a turn earlier. Maybe stuff like that, but that's too much.
Yeah. No, it's just too much. We will start with the Grand Coven.
Grand Coven.
The Index detachment, remade. Our detachment rule has changed ever so slightly. Instead of getting one of 3 keywords, we now have +6 range to your psychic attacks, or +1 to wound for your psychic attacks, or devastating wounds on your psychic attack. That's their whole detachment rule. It buffs your psychic attacks.
Bring them in. Bring in the psychic guns.
Well, the psychic guns was a stratagem from a specific book.
Bring in your psychic abilities.
This is fine. If you liked the way that Thousand Suns played in the Index, aka always choose devastating wounds, this is fine. If you want to run all the sorcerers possible, because that's what you built in the Index days and that's what you've got, you're probably going to have a blast still. It's not a problem. The only thing that's really changed for you is your army rule has been significantly changed. You've got some cool enhancements like +6 to your ritual range, which could be quite handy if you want to force that Doom Bolt out. You've got double Doom Bolt in this detachment as an enhancement. So if Doom Bolt is what you wanted, this is what you're playing. You've got a buffed psychic weapon profile, or you've got the Umbralific Crystal, which is pretty cool. That's your uppy downy shenanigans. That allows you to jump back into reserves and then deep strike next turn, even if you don't have deep strike. So yeah, this is very similar to what you're looking at.
I like it. Do thing really well.
Yeah, it's fine. It's does what Thousand Suns has always done. Its stratagems are very standard. They affect all of your psychers for the most part, because that's what you're focusing this detachment on, to the point where you can debuff your opponent's psychic attacks if for some reason they have any, which is very rare in this edition, to give them the hazardous ability and also to give you a feel no pain against them. You can sticky objectives for 1 CP, which is always nice. You can change the damage of a saving throw to 0, which is always nice for those big attacks that come in. I definitely had to do it at least a couple of times because this was in the index as well, to try and keep Magnus alive a bit longer. You can re-roll a psychic test. Like, these are fine.
Yeah, you got the double up command phase abilities and egotistical power, which is always good. You'll see that a lot in these switchblade, as I call it, or multi-tool, probably a better name, detachments. The 2 CP one, it's a pretty good one. Although, for 2 CP, you probably have to set up a bit of a combo to get the devastating sorcery to really pop off for the 2 CP it costs.
The problem is you're probably using it on Magnus.
Yeah.
For the most part, you're only getting 1, maybe 2 psychic attacks out of this 2 CP. So it's very specific, but when it does work, you're going to feel very good that you managed to outrange your opponent and just like blow them off the board, because psychic weapons in this army are pretty good all around. They had to give them some upside for the downsides, right?
It feels like this one should be like your indexy detachment, but it feels quite like a powerful shooting detachment, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's definitely the psychic weapons matter detachment. So it is very shooty. Although, key thing to note, all of the sorcerer's melee weapons do count as psychic as well, because they all have force weapons.
Yeah. How does that work? Do they use their brain to imbue it with strength?
No, they're punching you with their magic staff. Skip the program.
No, but like, are they forcing like power into their weapon, or is like the staff?
I believe that is, instead of having power weapons, they are putting magic into their weapons. They're imbuing their weapons with a force of power.
That's fun. I really like this detachment.
This detachment is fine.
It feels really flavorful to Thousand Suns. Yeah.
It sure does. Our next detachment is the Change Host of Deceit.
We love demon detachments, don't we, Jonny?
No.
Okay.
They ruined demons for this entire edition, in my eyes.
They sure have.
We don't need to go into that again. So we have access to the Scintillating Legions, meaning that you get access to blue horrors, pink horrors. You get access to flamers and screamers, the Lord of Change, and the big boy himself, Kairos Fateweaver. These would be cool if they didn't kill my blue horrors.
How do they kill your blue horrors, Jonny?
Horrors have -1 OC on what they had, meaning blue horrors and brimstones have 0 OC.
That's stupid.
And pinks only have 1 instead of 2, meaning you cannot just stick this on an objective and be like, yeah, it's mine forever now. Which is probably a good thing, let's be real, but the fact that you need to buy 3 boxes of models to run 1 unit of pink horrors is the problem I have. For that sort of financial investment, I want my OC.
I don't blame you.
Like, that's it. I'm not mad that they nerfed the horrors. I'm mad that they nerfed one of the most expensive financial units in the entire fucking game.
But Jonny, they're a business. They have to make choices that gets their bottom line.
Then make a box that's pinks and blues.
Or very good data sheet. Or both. Do both, actually.
Horrors in previous editions were disgustingly horrifying. I get that. There was when horrors were first, implemented as a big deal, their ability to split was guaranteed and terrifying. You would absolutely overwhelm your opponent in numbers by just charging a bunch of pink horrors in that would split into blues, that would split into brimstones, and overwhelm the board with sheer numbers. And I get why that cannot be a thing anymore.
Yeah.
The horrors are very Tzeentchian. They are very cool lore-wise. I think their ability to split on death is hilarious and should be only a chance instead of guaranteed. I agree.
I think they offer a pretty good synergy with the detachment rule, though. The horrors.
I don't feel like they were played that much that they required more nerfs, is my whole deal. Like, why are we knocking down the guys that aren't played, while the guys that are an actual problem are hiding in the corner at the top?
Who's hiding in the corner?
Internal balance has got better, but do we remember what happened at the start of this edition with Eldari? And how everyone around them got nerfed?
Yeah. Well.
Back to our detachment rule.
Well, we actually are on brand. Had a little tangent before they were probably cut out of the recording, but this one actually was on theme. You're more than welcome to talk about the horrors in the Tzeentch demon detachment.
Yeah, we're in the horror. We're in the detachment, right? This does what I don't like about demon detachments. It's the while I'm near you and you're near me, we both get.
There's so much homework copying in these detachments.
There really is, isn't there? So while a friendly Thousand Sun Psyker is within 6 inches and visible of your demons, they get a 4-up invuln save against ranged attacks. But there's ways to get that baked in your sheets elsewhere.
Yeah, there is.
And while your demons are within 6, if they're a Psyker, they can get the Cabal of Sorcerers ability.
So do Lords of Change.
Yeah, so you have the option of having like a couple of extra sorcerers if you run someone near them. And that's the key problem, is that you have to buddy everyone up. And that's the part I don't like. And also, that whole army rule only affects 2 of the demons in your entire codex.
Lords of Change.
Lords of Change and Kairos. That is it. No one else has the psychic keyword.
Wasn't this the one you said was the worst of the 4 demon detachments?
Yes.
In your opinion?
Yes.
I can see it. Screamers and Flamer demons are pretty good, but I don't see a whole lot in the stratagems to actually encourage me to play this detachment, even though the stratagems all feel very Tzeentchian reactive manipulation of things, such as reducing your opponent's charge rolls, or doing like that half lone up, which you can't shoot 18 inches, away units, and under uppy downy stuff, reactive move.
Like the stratagems are great.
Yeah, a lot of control. This is a good control detachment for the board, but the synergy between demons and Rubrikai, meh.
I consider this the Lords of Change detachment, not the Demons detachment.
Yeah, it really is Lords of Change, which, if you like Lords of Change, go nuts.
Yeah, sure. I don't really have anything else to say about this because, frankly, it's the worst detachment in the book.
All right, let's save our breath for the next one then. Warp Meld.
Warp Meld. Do you like Zangors?
Oh, I was going to say, as you would probably put it, this is the Zangor's Matter detachment.
This is the Demons detachment. No jokes.
This is the Tzeentchian mutants, all the cultists that have sort of drifted between human existence and unreal demon existence. Mutants.
So this is our cult detachment. This is our like hordish detachment. But there's some really interesting plays in the Codex where you see the mutant keyword and you're like, oh, that's a mutant. And you're like, that's kind of neat. But yes, the idea behind this is your Zangors become battle line and they get some extra OC. On top of that, they also have the detachment rule, which allows them to do mortal wounds. Sorry, take mortal wounds. They kind of get pacts.
They do your favorite thing. You mop them, you master of possession, shank your best friend, and you use their life essence to give your unit a little buff. It's your favorite thing with cult detachments.
Gambling, but not without the gamble.
Do I roll 1 mortal wound or 3?
It's like, do I lose 1 Zangor or 3? Is losing 3 Zangors out of 10 worth the risk to buff the remainders? And that's what a lot of people have a problem with this detachment is you're guaranteed to lose guys, meaning at some point you're like, there's no point doing it. I don't get enough benefit out of it.
It's interesting. It's a twofold rule. You have the ability to mortal wound yourself to have -1 for incoming attacks to wound you. So it could pay off if you're being attacked by a lot of smaller arms fire, because as we said, Zangors are T4.
Or if you only lose 1 Zangor because of it, but if you sacrifice 3 Zangors and then lose more...
Zangors are 1 wound. But then you could do it on the attack roll inversely. So depending on what else is in your detachment when you play this, you could have that little roadblock from them or a little punch up from maybe the fate casters or the shamans, yeah. You also have a third sort of version of that with one of the enhancements, the warp meld dagger, where a shaman can shank their squad. Shank themselves. They shank themselves, they seppuku themselves for the mortal wounds, and if they haven't killed themselves, that psychic test is a little better, depending on the wounds actually suffered. So if you're doing your 2d6 roll for the spell, the psychic ability, and you want your shaman to shank himself with the dagger, maybe you take 3 mortals, oops, but now it's +3 on the ability. I don't know if it's that necessary, but for 10 points, it's probably not that rough to just have it in your pocket just in cases.
As a once-off, yeah.
When everyone else is failing their abilities and you're like, all right, shaman, I'm sorry about this. You're going to have to stab yourself and die doing your spell.
And I do actually enjoy it. I think it's not a bad detachment. And your other abilities to give a Lord's Scout 6 so he can actually scout along with your Zangors, subtracting 1 from hit rolls, incoming hit rolls, so that it's harder to kill your squishy dudes.
Flowing Flesh is really good for a melee shaman.
Yeah, giving that Feel No Pain 4. Or for like your warlord that you really just want alive. The Feel No Pain 4 would also be good for your ability to sacrifice himself, potentially.
Yeah, there are a couple of stratagems that catch my eye as well. The Gift of Change. If a Thousand Suns character dies, you can replace it with a Chaos Spawn for 1 time. So if you have a couple of Chaos Spawn in your collection, might be a little juicy surprise. Touched by Tzeentch could be fun, advance and shoot. Mutilith Vortex Beasts are mutants, so you could reposition them a bit. Got a couple of things like Warped Vicissitude. You could give the Zangors 4-up invulnerable. Wide Fight. Here's the Wide Fight. Sorry, I said Wide Fight earlier when I didn't mean to. It's here.
Piling Consolidate up to 3 and 3 inches of engagement range. Yep. You've also got Blessed Transmutations to bring back D3 plus 1 models.
Yeah, it's a surprisingly tanky approach to Zangors. If you have the CP, your mortal wound stuff to your units isn't going to be all that problematic.
Just finding a way to generate the CP.
No character does, do they?
No. This detachment's fine. Like, it's reasonable, and if you bought multiple of the old Combat Patrol, maybe it's something to try out.
Do you want to compare the Combat Patrols real quick? Little interlude?
Sure.
The old one sucks.
I was going to say, we got better, but only because the bar was set very low.
I don't think the units themselves are necessarily bad, but no one detachment that we got in the Codex really buffs the old Combat Patrol.
Yeah.
Like, if you got that old one, it's not a good start.
Oh, mate. The old Combat Patrol being Zangor heavy with a couple of Scarab Occults and then a leader who can't even lead Scarab Occults or Zangors was a bit of a problem. Like, it definitely felt 9th edition, not 10th edition. Like, which is fair. It wasn't designed for 10th edition in mind. But it kind of just felt like a bit of a non-bow in the grand scheme of 10th.
The new one's cool. I like the new one.
The new one's cool. You get Demon Prince.
Yeah, a bit of everything. Some Zangors, got a Shaman in there, squad of Rubrics.
Yeah. This feels more Thousand Suns.
Yeah.
It's very simple, very basic, but it feels Thousand Suns, which is the key thing.
Yeah. Wouldn't be unhappy to receive this box if someone was like, here you go. Have fun.
if you're starting a Thousand Suns army, a lot of the time the question is, do you want more than one of the combat patrol? And in this case, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
If you can get it on discount, yes. Demon Princes are good. There's multiple options for Demon Princes. The Sorcerer is good. You can run him as whatever Sorcerer you want, realistically. Rubric Marines you're gonna want. And Zangors are fine, filler. Like,
it's a good box.
Getting a couple ain't mad. Your opponent might be, because that's a lot of Demon Princes running around. And I'm the guy that put together a list with 6 Demon Princes for one of these.
Ooh, spoilers. For
the
cost of the Zangors to the points they actually are, this box sings a little bit brighter for me. Liking the Enlightened Zangors and the Shamans. Yeah, this box good position to be in. Find it on a third-party retailer if you really need those little savings. Most countries have a fairly reputable shop to order from if you're Australian like us. You got Gap Games, Combat Company, Gameology. They usually have some discounts going on.
And that will leave us with 2 more detachments to go.
True.
The good one and the other one.
Yeah. Yep. Rubrique.
This my shit.
All is dust, Jonny.
All is dust. -1 damage.
Oh, sorry. No, I misread it. Each time an attack with an unmodified damage characteristic of 1, which there's a lot of those, the Rubrique will have +1 save against it. It's like, your bullet's so weak.
Yes, we all have force shields that stop small arms fire.
We all have Armour of Content.
This is what a lot of people are considering the best of the detachment.
Very straightforward.
Not so much for the army rule, but just because of the focus on the Rubrique units and how good they are in the Codex now. And this just makes them better. You have Risen Rubrique, so you can give either 2 Rubric Marines or 1 Scarab Occult Terminator unit Infiltrator. Good enhancement. Key thing to note, they can't have characters attached. You have re-rolling battle shock tests on nearby Rubrique, which you're probably not picking up, let's be real. Because battle shock tests are not that big a deal.
Although, 5 points. Good chance you'll have 5 points to spare.
Yeah, but every list I built, I run out of enhancement slots, because the other 3 are okay.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Lord of the Rubrique is +1 to hit for the unit. So stacking it with those re-rolls that you can get elsewhere, and you're doing some very, very good shooting. And then the Stave Abominus gives the bearer's melee weapon, sustained hits D3, and devastating wounds. So it makes for a very punchy melee guy.
Yeah, I can see the appeal of Rubrique Phalanx already. You know, just having good units become better is always a nice time. You don't have to think so hard about it if you're just there for like a fun time. But Rubrique is also just good, so good chance you win it as well.
In terms of stratagems, we do have 2 2CP stratagems in this.
Mm-hmm.
One of them being the key to all the fun, being Infernal Fusillade. All Inferno bolt pistols, Inferno bolt guns, Inferno combi bolters, and combi weapons equipped by models in this unit have the psychic ability and a strength of 5. So when you get out of your Rhino with your dudes, they all get the bonuses.
I think I've heard you glowing about this combo like 3 times in the last 24 hours.
Is very good.
Yeah, it is.
And the other one, Implacable Guardians, is -1 to incoming damage in the shooting phase. Decent.
Yeah.
For 2 CP.
Yeah. If for whatever reason your opponent brought good guns, it's like, nice try, but we got a backup plan for that one.
We got something for that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how this feels, because your other detachments are fallback, shoot, and charge.
Good.
Assault, and you can't touch my movement and advance rolls. Subtract 1 to incoming wounds in the after the charge phase, so in melee. So if you do get into melee, we are still tanky. And the Revenge of the Rubrique, where you get a free shoot if they ping off your psyker.
I love reprisal stratagems, mate. Love them.
It is a little more specific because they have to kill your leader, meaning it has to be precision work. or they have to be nearby. So you can always stack up nearby, and if they do pick off the character on their own, then the other rubrics can shoot.
Yeah, I'm a big
very
fan of it.
Very good detachment. Very shooty, very focused on your rubrics. And I dig it, because they're some of the cooler kits that we've got.
I would agree. The Rubric A aesthetic was definitely one of the contenders for my first army back when I was starting and didn't know as much now as I did then. They were one of the 3 options I was considering because they're just that damn cool, mate.
Because they're just Necron 2.0, right?
Yeah. Do you want your Necrons to be a little more humanoid? There you go.
Pretty much. And that will lead us to the last of the detachments, the Warp Forged Cabal, the vehicle-focused one. And unlike some of the other cult factions, we actually have a few vehicle options. Sorry, Emperor's children.
The Emperor's children probably spent too much time squirting into the fuel lines of their tanks for them to actually work anymore. Sorry.
Ooh, I don't like that.
I've been reading some Emperor's Children Horus Heresy stuff, Jonny. Those guys are sick Fs.
And very quickly. They became deranged very quickly.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about it. But right now we're talking about Warpforged Cabal. Do we like this one, Jonny?
I don't know.
Same. It's okay.
I just don't know. Well, our army rule is fairly simple. When your vehicles are selected to shoot or fight, you can choose one of 2 abilities. You can either reroll 1 hit roll, 1 wound roll, or 1 damage roll. Or, if you're near a psyker, you can reroll 1 hit roll, wound roll, and damage roll.
So you want sorcerers to cosplay as engineers because they're using magic to repair the vehicles instead. And each time a vehicle is destroyed, it has a 5-up chance instead of a 6, which it's interesting.
If they're near a psyker.
Yeah, if they're near that psyker. You need that buddy-buddy system. I have not seen... Oh, yeah, there we go. I was expecting that. An enhancement to give one of the sorcerers... Well, infantry model, but sorcerer. The lone op, if near the vehicle.
While near it, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to need that. Otherwise, stuff like this is dead in the water. I feel like this detachment exists, yes, to boost up the new Secatars, because I think the Codex art piece has the Secatar as the banner piece at the top of the page.
Definitely does.
Definitely does. My vibe for this is someone was designing this as almost like so you've played CSM, yeah?
You've got a bunch of vehicles sitting around.
What if you bring those 2 halves together? Because I don't think many Thousand Sons super fans, or people just getting into Thousand Sons, I should say, are going to think, oh yeah, I'll pick up all the Land Raiders and Defilers and Fiends. I don't imagine that's a very common path for people to take. But if you have come from, what you have, a sizable CSM background, you might have these vehicles like Vindicators and stuff. You're like, oh, well, this is neat. I can just... They might not look the same scheme-wise, but can fit them in. That's fun.
So this sits in an interesting and weird spot in my heart, this list. There's some cool enhancements, you've got an enhancement that allows you to push the damage from your channel, the warp, into your vehicles instead of the sorcerers. As you said, we have a lone operative. We have I'm secretly actually just a mechanic, and you can heal the wounds as if you were a warpsmith
even
on
called
vehicles.
This stuff, perplexing cloak, biomechanical mutation. We see you.
Yeah. But the big problem I have is a lot of the time you're hoping for deadly demise. But when you're within 6 of your vehicles when they blow up is the one time you don't want it to deadly demise. But now it's even easier to do.
Yeah, you're just gonna walk your bomb.
It's your sorcerer is fucked if that thing goes off.
Yeah, you just escort the bomb, more or less. You're spending that 75, 80, 100 points, whatever, into a sorcerer to guarantee that every time your Vindicators and the like are shooting, they're getting through.
The other problem I have is the detachment feels like it's not quite enough.
No, it's like Iron Storm, but not quite.
For the risk you're taking, all you're getting is a reroll of 1 die. It's not even like rerolls of 1 or full rerolls. It's 1 hit roll, 1 wound roll, and 1 damage roll.
Hence why it makes sense on only like casino cannon type platforms like the Vindicator. Maybe the like melter guns of the Sekitar. Maybe like the ectoplasmas of the Fiends. But if you're bringing like Defilers or Fiends with the big autocannons and the multiple lower damage hits, it's not like there's no real big buff to them. There's no stealth really granted to the vehicle by the sorcerer, unless there's a strat I've overlooked. There's not a whole lot of defensive buffs.
Yeah, and there is some cool stuff, like you do get a fallback and shoot and charge.
Yeah, there's a armor of content.
You do get like a mini tank shock. Like there's some cool stuff, but for the most part, it just feels like it's not quite enough.
Like I'm sure with revisions, this would sing a little more, or with another couple of Thousand Suns specific vehicles. Like if you had like a Sekitar, big dreadnought,
a robot with a big cannon on his shoulder.
Yeah, like more options, then you would sort of get this detachment a bit more fire going through it,
Cool. Well, that's all the detachments, and I am running out of time. So let's do some quick army lists, and then we will have to call it there, I think.
That's okay. You and I had brekkie this morning, so we're a little behind our usual. Do you want to do you could just do your list if you want.
I mean, if you want, but up to you. I chose to bring my actual parade army that I am building and painting as my list, which is a Rubrique detachment. We are fielding Magnus because I painted it, and he's cool. And he's still good, even though he is a lot of points. But then I wanted to focus on a couple of key, like, wombo combos, and then just some good stuff around it. So I do have the Chaos Rhino with 10 Rubric Marines with bolt pistols and an Infernal Master to be marched up the board and do my big alpha strike. On top of that, I have got a Sorcerer in Terminator armor with the Lord of the Rubricade to give the +1 to hit to 10 Scarab Occult Terminators as my second big alpha strike. Then from there, I've kind of spread out a little bit. So we have an Exalted Sorcerer leading 5 Flamer Rubric Marines. I guess technically it's 3 Flamers with a Sorcerer and a heavy weapon, but with Flamer Marines as just kind of like a midfield objective monkey, do what they need to do. And then I have 5 Rubrique without a leader, so that my Zangor Shaman that has risen Rubrique can give them Infiltrator. Mainly because the robots aren't released yet.
Yep, I getcha.
Then to round out the list, the Zangor Shaman is going to be with 3 Fate Caster Great Bow Enlightened as my like backfield objectives / precision monkeys. The goat bird monkey hybrid. And then due to my chaos roots, I have put a Chaos Vindicator in here as a bit of anti-tank / a tank to drive around and get some stuff done. And that is my 2,000 points of Thousand Sun. A couple of big death squads, and then some dudes running around accomplishing things in the background. It does give me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 options to cast my rituals.
Oh, yeah.
So enough redundancy in there that I should be able to accomplish what I need to accomplish.
Yeah, I get it.
And that's my 2k of Rubrique.
2k Rubrique. Nice.
What do you got for me, Josh? What'd you put together for this?
I went with Warp Meld Pact. I think it's got a fun flavor that I haven't really looked too much into with Warhammer armies much before. I have seen people do all Tzeentch mutants because that's the idea of the pact. I don't think that's super great. I think you need a bit of both. I will need to, like, if I was to make an army, need to read this a bit more intricately and plan things, of course, as we pointed out. It's a bit synergy. But I have Magnus because he's just big and strong.
Yep.
I've got a Demon Prince of Tzeentch for sort of like a a minor demigod kind of vibe. So like Magnus is big, powerful. Demon is secondarily powerful. I have a couple of Zangor shamans, of course, one with a diamond of distortion for the -1 hits incoming, flowing flesh for, the tankier one. Both of them have 6 Zangor enlightened with the spears, just to sort of poke out and finish off what Magnus and the Demon Prince doesn't. I decided to do something a bit funky and do the sorcerer, sorcerer in Terminator armor with the Bray Lord, leading a brick of 20 Zangors, with the idea that they're kind of like a distraction piece, flood the board with bodies, and they can sort of come on and off the board a little bit with the sorcerer doing its buff. I just want something a bit fun and weird. I have an exalted sorcerer.
That's the beauty of Thousand Sons.
Yeah, I have pardon me. Sorry.
Suddenly.
Yeah, I'm losing my voice this week, everyone. Holy moly. Exalted Sorcerer on Disc of Tzeentch to lead the Fatecaster Great Bows. I could be convinced to try and squeeze Ahriman in instead. 3 Vortex Beasts, because that's big gun, and they are all Tzeentch mutants, and they got some impressive strat connections. And you could, damage them a little bit to punch up into even tougher targets if there's, say, a Knight Tyrant on the board. And a couple of Sekitar robots squads infiltrating to be like little road bumps, Overwatchy stuff, help out the Zangor Enlightened a little bit's the idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my list. Not too much Zangor, but like just a fun amount of Zangor. There's only like 400 points of infantry Zangor. Yeah.
Hey, that's fine.
That's fine.
You don't need everything to work with the army rule when everything works so well.
Yeah, there's a few chaff bodies. I tried to fit a couple of those sorcerers in because I clued into the whole Cabal thing, of course. And then a couple of just big punch bricks with lasers coming out of those really similar looking beasts in the back of the board, eh? Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. That's it, mate.
Honestly, if only our second model release was just a new Mutalith kit that's not the alternate build.
Everyone preaching from the rafters about all the rumors of what we will and won't get. I'm pretty sure they were just huffing copium and hopium.
Hopium and hopium.
Yeah.
That's what we have in this edition.
Brilliant, mate. We'll skip Crusade for today. You guys can go read it if you wanna.
It's very similar to the Space Marine one.
I'll do a task, become cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Crusade in a nutshell. Make your non-epic heroes into epic heroes of your own. Yeah, enough said. Thank you, Jonny, for this episode.
Thank you, Joshy.
I'm not quite with it today, so thank you for being a bit more leady on the Thousand Sons episode for us today here at TTP Field Manual.
Keep your hobbying going and enjoy the rest of your week, and we will see you next time.
Heck yeah. Watch out for the magical demons in your closet.